Welcome to Behind the Research, where we go behind the latest research from the Journal of Financial Planning. I'm Ben Lewis, and today I'm joined by Dr. Gianni Nicolini, a professor in the area of banking and finance in the Department of Management and Law at the University of Rome Tor Vergata in Italy. Gianni, along with Doctors Brenda Kood and Swarn Chatterjee, authored the latest research in the June issue of the Journal of Financial Planning titled, Do Different Generative AI Tools Provide Different Financial Recommendations? This paper asks the question, are AI tools giving everyone the same advice? Researchers tested 7 leading generative AI platforms across core household planning scenarios and varied the household's race and gender to see whether the recommendations changed. They did, and sometimes significantly. While most tools generally tracked with conventional financial principles, the consistency and fairness weren't uniform across platforms or demographics. The conclusion? AI can be a useful first step for consumers, but it's no replacement for qualified financial planners. Over the next few minutes, we're going to explore what inspired this research and how you can apply it to the work with your clients. Thanks for joining me, Johnny, and welcome to Behind the Research.
Thank you, Ben. And you already said a lot about the paper. The paper starts from the idea to investigate how consumers, especially financial consumer, use the AI, especially the large language model, the LLM, for taking their financial decision. We know that searching on the web for personal information on our wealth, of course, but even our health status is something that is not new. So the next level is not using only Google, but use LLM for a real recommendation. Is that something feasible? Is that something that can be an option for financial consumer, and at the same time it can be a treat for financial planner or not? And what's the difference between different LLMs? Because AI is not a one-size-fits-all, it's not a standard, but we have different tools. And anytime we have different tools, sometimes we have something better for some output, for some questions, something not as good for others. So what we did is try to test the AI and see what kind of answer they provide once we do question that a financial consumer can ask to a financial planner, of course, but even to the web. We search on 3 main areas. One is the emergency funds. One is the sustainable retirement withdrawal on withdrawal rate on pension funds, on pension planning, generally speaking. And the third one is about portfolios asset allocation. So we try to see what kind of answer we receive once we make very plain, very simple question about those kind of things. And the output was the one you anticipated in your introduction. Sometimes we have a very standard answer, and that's the case for the retirement withdrawal rate. All of the LLM were aligned on what is recommended as the standard 4% rate, almost all of them. But once we move to other questions, we have differences. And those differences is something that can make the difference, because if you use a certain LLM, ChatGPT, Copilot, Gemini, you can find, you can receive different answers, different suggestions. And that's something that is somehow something we should keep in mind when we use AI for any kind of recommendation. But we investigated the case of financial recommendation, financial question. And another thing that we try to test if the answer change when we propose different scenarios about genders and about ethnicity. So is the same answer if I'm a white male investor, or if I'm a black male, or if I'm a white female? Is there a difference or not about the recommendation we receive? And the answer is that some LLM are quite flat, so doesn't change a lot the recommendation according with these different groups. Some others make a difference. So that's something that in some reason makes sense. In other reason can be even scary, because we know that LLM just recommend something not thinking, but just searching on the web about what the available information is. And if we have some bias in the available information, the feedback can be biased. So this is something that I think it's something we should keep in mind. What about the end of the story? What about the juice out of the paper? We have some variation about LLMs. So our recommendation is to do not rely on a single LLM, because
Right.
this one could be the one that will be biased, at least in your case. So as always happen when we do shopping, even when we do about shopping about financial product, shopping around is always positive. So do not trust the first LLM or the one you use the most, because different LLMs can give you different, even slightly different feedback. Second point is LLMs are not able to replace a financial advisor. So at least so far, financial advisors should not be, however, afraid about the competition with LLMs, but a financial advisor should know that a customer probably will use an LLM and probably will do even more in the future. But this is something good for a first step analysis. So just to receive a first feedback, it's something that LLM can do it, and it seems to do even in a good way. We didn't receive any bad advice or something that can put in trouble a financial consumer.
Right.
But LLM is not the final answer. So is something new that is going on, something that will evolve over time, but is, we think, an additional tool that financial consumer can use, but even financial advisor can introduce in their process, in their recommendation with clients.
Sure. I'm interested in asking you, I mean, as you were doing the research, did you guys come across any like big surprises? Anything that really jumped out at you as something that you weren't necessarily really anticipating in the research?
Oh, that's a good question. We were expecting something probably more standard, more flat. So the question, the prompt, as we know, as we call it, were quite, of course, the same, and were quite simple. So we were expecting not such a huge variation. That's something that we find on sustainable retirement withdrawal rate recommendation. But once we switch on investment portfolios, we find surprising that from one LLM to another, we have quite big differences. One LLM didn't include any cash in their portfolio structure. Another one included 15% for exactly the same scenarios. And that's something that of course, you don't know where this recommendation comes from, but it was surprising that we find such big differences. And this was unexpected.
Yeah. I mean, it stands to reason. I mean, considering that, you know, all these platforms are different, they're sourcing information from different places and so on. So I'm interested, you know, obviously, you know, one of the things that we like to talk about here on Behind the Research is the practical application of the research. So obviously our, you know, financial planners are going to be reading this research. What do you hope that they're going to take away and apply to their work with their clients?
I think that as a financial planner, I should at least be aware that once a customer will approach me, that kind of information is an information that he already received. So it's like going to the doctor. We know Dr. Aids, the Dr. Google recommendation, but a doctor is aware that once somebody approached me, probably an initial search is something that has been done. So as a financial planner, probably being aware about what kind of information, what kind of recommendation has been already provided by an LLM can be something that helped me to understand what my client or potential client is talking about. Probably a client that will not say, I asked to ChatGPT or Gemini. They will never say that openly, but if I know they did, I should understand what they found before approach me as a financial planner. That is, I think, something that can be useful for a financial planner. At the same time, I think the use of LLM as a financial planner can sometimes be something interesting at least, or something that I can introduce in preparing my recommendation, or just checking if my recommendation is in line with what can be found online. And that's something that probably can be something interesting at least.
Sure. Before I let you go, I mean, is there like a specific action that you think planners should be taking with their clients proactively to have these conversations about the role of generative AI tools in doing this kind of home research that these clients are doing?
I think that the good strategy could be try to be proactive. So don't only be afraid about LLM, but maybe I can even use the LLM with my clients and say, this is what you can find online. And from that, say, what I would propose, maybe something different, because in your case, this is more important than that. So just stress the value created by a real financial advisor. So
Yeah.
not say that I'm in competition with, but I can just show you that this is what you can find free online, but what I recommend is something different or something more analytics. So I provide a better service. That's even the justification for paying a financial advisor.
Yeah. Well, listen, Johnny, I know that it's late in the day over there in Rome. I appreciate you taking the time to join us today on Behind the Research. And thank you for, again, digging into this really terrific, research and helping kind of connect the dots for financial planners in terms of how they can digest this research and use it in their practices. So thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Ben. It's always a pleasure to spread the news of the paper, but even help people to use what we try to learn from, in that case, from LLM. So not doing research only something that remain a piece of research, but something that can help people to do better their job. So thank you again.
That's great. Thank you so much. And everybody, I just want to remind all of you that you can dig into this exciting new research in the June issue of the Journal of Financial Planning, which is now available to all FPA members. You can simply scan that QR code that you see there on the screen, or you can visit fpajournal.org. So thank you for spending a few minutes with us, and we'll see you next time on Behind the Research.